You are an absolute liar if you tell me that you expected that kind of result. Liverpool, amazingly, at Anfield, destroy Manchester United. 7-0, everybody. A ridiculous performance from Jurgen Klopp's squad against an Erik ten Hag side that everybody thought were almost, unbeatable, almost, very difficult to beat. And there you have it. Liverpool wins 7-0. We can go everywhere with statistics, and we will, I promise you. But the most important factor here, everybody, is that Liverpool are now 3 points of Tottenham with a game in hand. But we can go everywhere with this. And what a great place to welcome in our very own Stevie Nicol, who must be absolutely delighted. Nobody expected this, Stevie, surely. What a ridiculous victory for Liverpool.
Yeah, I mean, there's so many things that we didn't expect that we actually got from this game. Clearly, the scoreline would be top of the list. But for me, it's the performance. From start to finish, they absolutely dominated the game. Now, United fans will argue that they probably had the better chances in the first half, which I certainly wouldn't disagree with. But in terms of football, in terms of running the game, then there's no question there was only one team in it, and that was Liverpool. And my biggest worry was that when you're dominating, you have to take advantage of it. And Liverpool didn't do that in the first half, not until Gakpo put them ahead just before half-time. And so the worry was one going to be enough? Liverpool, you cannot say, have been particularly brilliant defensively. The worry is, could they keep a clean sheet? Well, they did, but going forward in the second half, absolutely destroyed United. 6 goals in the second half. It was crazy to watch. It's still pretty crazy to think that they actually scored 6 in the second half and the game finished 7-0. So just an extraordinary afternoon at Anfield.
Just an unbelievable afternoon, as you said, Stevie Nicol. Just, Liverpool outscoring Manchester United 17-1, by the way, in the last 8 home matches. So Anfield is a good place for Liverpool when they face United. But recently, obviously, the worry was that can they do this? Can they do this against the Erik ten Hag side that had only lost once in 2023, of course? And to your point, we were talking about this, Stevie, before we went live, how at halftime there was a worry, even though it was 1-0 to Liverpool. United had all the shots on target. The only shot on target at that point was the Cody Gakpo goal. And then I don't know what Klopp said at halftime, but unbelievable. They just went all out. Where do you want to go from I know that you mentioned the collective. Well, this was one of the most monumental performances from Mohamed Salah. I mean, he becomes Liverpool's all-time scorer, 129 goals, passes Robbie Fowler. I thought he was magnificent. But where else do you want to go, my friend? 7-0. The stage is yours.
I honestly think the key was the middle of the park. If anybody's been watching ESPN FC or show, ESPN Plus, you will have heard me in particular talking about how the middle of the park just hasn't been performing. It hasn't been closing the ball down the way it had before. It wasn't stopping any opposition, regardless of who it was, getting to the back four. And so today, what you saw for 90 minutes, recently there's been a little upsurge in Liverpool's form, yes, but it's been spells. This was Liverpool's midfield back to its best, not letting the opposition breathe, harrying them, hustling them, double teaming them, not letting them get out, squeezing the life out of them, winning the ball back and then giving it to the front three. Now, in the first half, the front three, I think, should have done better with the amount of ball we had, but certainly I'm going to complain about the second half. And again, it's down to the middle of the park. The middle of the park, squeeze the life out of United again, right from the get-go, which is the key, because the way back for Man United in this game, only one down, was to start the second half on top. That would be the key for me if I'm Ten Hag. We need to go out here and try and dominate the start of the game of this second half, because we can't afford to lose another one. Well, my goodness, we lost another one and some. So, yeah, I think the biggest praise, listen, it's always nice to see forward scoring goals. Don't get me wrong. But I'll tell you what, for me, the key was the middle of the park. And if the middle of the park can turn up and do what they did today between now and the end of the season, then it's going to be who's going to beat Liverpool. Now, not who when's Liverpool going to win a game? Because that's where they were not that long ago. So yeah, I think I made it pretty clear. For me, the key to this game, no question, was the middle of the park.
Yeah, but notably speaking, it's important to remind everybody that that middle of the park included a very young Harvey Elliott who showed no humility against the likes of Casemiro and Bruno Fernandes. A tremendous performance from him, and there was a fire instilled in Jordan Henderson as well. Tremendous from Liverpool. We got a question here already jumping in. Obviously, Liverpool deserve full credit in this magnificent victory, Stevie Nicol. But let's talk about Manchester United for the second. Does this result, and thank you so much for tuning in and the questions, does this result mean that have they overperformed this season? Because this was terrible per the commentary. What do you think?
You know, it depends where you saw Man United. If you saw Manchester United as title contenders, then I would say they've been overperforming. You know, Man United are where they are because they deserve to be where they are. It's about results, and they've been consistent. Now, I would suggest that yes, everyone went totally wrong for them in this game, but I would suggest that Manchester United, if they want to take a step forward, then they can't rely on giving the opposition the majority of possession, because that's what they've been doing. They've been given, regardless of the opposition, they've been quite happy to let the opposition have it, and then they can hit them on the break with the likes of Bruno Fernandes picking out passes, with Rashford in the type of form he's been in. And of course, you've got to say Weghorst up until today has been great as well. So for me, I think United have to look at, certainly if they want to win against the big teams, if they want to win the biggest games, then I don't think they can sit back as much as they do and let the opposition have the ball. Yes, today was all about Liverpool harrying them and winning the ball back. But I think in terms of have United, you know, overshot the ball, then I think maybe. And I think that's the reason why. You know, they have to have more possession of the ball, in my opinion, to take a step forward.
I mean, whether they performed badly or not today, one thing is for sure. A 7-0 loss is unbelievable in more ways than one. Thank you so much for your questions. Keep throwing them out there. We've got Mark Ogden joining us in a second. He's at Anfield. He's waiting for everything to calm down. And once it's a little bit quieter, he'll join us. But we've got another one. Here's another one. Yeah, I know. Here's another one for you, Stevie. Obviously, Real Madrid becomes a totally different type of opponent. Carlo Ancelotti, I'm sure, is taking notes. Can they do this against Real Madrid?
Look, I'm not going to get carried away with today. I'm sorry. I don't see it. You know, I think the difference between Real Madrid and well, certainly in this upcoming game, you give Real Madrid opportunities and they'll hurt you. And I think that'll be the key. Yes, Liverpool can go and try and dominate, and they can try and squeeze Madrid. It's going to be twice as hard away from home. It's a different ball game at Anfield. It's a lot easier at Anfield, but away from home, it changes everything. And so I don't expect Liverpool to dominate the game, certainly half as much as they did today. And of course, as I said, the key is if you give Real Madrid an opportunity, they'll 9 times out of 10 take it. And again, if they can score, if Real Madrid score a goal against Liverpool, then I think the tie's done and dusted. So, today's fantastic for all Liverpool fans and Liverpudlians, but as far as Real Madrid is concerned, it's a different ball game. It's a completely different setting. And listen, I said this on our show ESPN Plus. Anfield for a Man United player is a completely different experience than anything they will face in their career. And if you go and ask one of these Man United players now, they'll tell you that is correct. And so it's important that the game was at Anfield, and that's why it's important for Real Madrid the game is in the Bernabeu, because that'll make the difference ultimately against the Liverpool side that obviously will be a little confident, shall we say.
Yeah, there's a certain hostility, especially saved for Manchester United whenever Liverpool welcomes them at Anfield. Absolutely. That's for damn sure. And Real Madrid, as you mentioned, in many ways actually is the perfect type of opponent to watch this kind of game and say, Liverpool, you think you're going to do this against us? You'll have another thing coming. But regardless, like you said, Stevie, Liverpool fans should be rejoiceful at this. type of performance, the biggest win ever. The last one was 7-1 in 1985, but this one is the biggest. And now let's welcome in. Let's see how quiet it is at Anfield. And as you said, Steve, I doubt it's very quiet, but Oggy Ogden joins us from Anfield. Oggy, first of all, talk to us about what we just witnessed and try and trickle in the atmosphere, even though after the 90 minutes.
What do I say? Where do I start? I think we start with United's tactics. I thought it was very strange that Ten Hag had Bruno at left, Rashford to the middle, and Weghorst at number 10. It just didn't make any sense because we know that Liverpool's weakness is Alexander-Arnold at the right, and he could have put Rashford there, used his pace to get behind Alexander-Arnold, used Bruno as a number 10 to create the chances. So it was a very strange selection by Ten Hag, and one of his very few tactical mistakes this season. I think he paid a massively heavy price for it. I mean, nobody saw that second half coming. It was just, I mean, United have had some terrible performances this year. Brentford away, Brighton at home, and that was Man City away, but that was off the scale. And I think Liverpool were outstanding, but I think Stevie's right to be a little bit kind of, realistic about what it means. This is a complete one-off. Liverpool have been unpredictable this season, and I still think they'll finish top four, but this is a one-off. I mean, 7-0 against Man United, but I just think that United collapsed second half, and I think Liverpool just capitalised on the chances. But in many ways, this is probably a good result for Ten Hag in the long term. So I think it gets rid of a lot of the over-optimism that we've heard in the last few weeks. I think it's brought a bit of reality back in the sense that what United need, they definitely need a striker. They need a right-back. And I think maybe the people upstairs are getting a bit carried away thinking, actually, United are back. Well, they're not back. They've still got a job to do. And this is a difficult way to find that out, but they've certainly found that out today.
Oggy, I wanted to ask you, and Stevie, if you have a question for Oggy, please feel free to add. But Oggy, I had another question for you, and we're going to talk about it in a second. But you mentioned
why is Stevie laughing?
Well, because I'm not 100% sure, but I do believe you're a Manchester United fan, Oggy.
I knew he was going there.
I'm trying to be really nice, and I'm trying to be very professional and trying to take the higher ground. So I will refrain.
I've spent a lot of my professional career covering the Manchester clubs, put it that way, yeah.
I do actually have a question for you, because
go ahead, Stevie.
I said it earlier, and I said it on the show as well. Anfield for a Manchester United player is a completely different animal. You will never be in a situation like that.
Thank you very much for watching ESPN FC on YouTube. For more highlights, analysis, and exclusive content, be sure to subscribe.